slate of players this weekend. All okay?
Yeah, just lost it on braking.
When I come in, you have to check these damn tyres and check the floor.
Was that turn 4 for Lewis? Because I had a big moment there as well.
Yeah, but yeah, it looks like it was.
That's weird.
Boxing.
Yeah, have a look at mine because I had something very similar there.
his chances back, that he wasn't beating Yuki Tsunoda regularly enough to then be a contender for the senior seat against a driver that Helmut Marko probably doesn't think is a contender for the senior seat.
Do you therefore decipher from that Red Bull feel that Tsunoda's not quick enough or good enough to replace Sergio Perez, and therefore somebody has to come in and better him, substantially better him, to even have a hope of a chance of, which I think that's a bit too much of a tall order, because Yuki has been steadily improving all the time, and I think that goalpost may have moved.
Well, I think there is an argument to say the more Yuki Tsunoda does a decent job, the more surely somebody in the hierarchy at Red Bull needs to say, yeah, what if we give Yuki a chance?
Yeah, what if nobody can beat him?
Exactly.
Yeah, possibly he's good enough. I mean, Daniel Ricciardo, look, he's no slouch. No. Liam Lawson, he had his chance before and basically matched him. Although, from my understanding, that Lawson had slightly like an updated car at many times in that fight before. So maybe it wasn't a complete, but yeah, which is surprising. So now it will be complete. I believe it will be a completely fair fight. So that's maybe why they're analysing it once again. And Nick de Vries as well, who you know from your sports car.
Yeah, he's quick.
Yeah. He's no slouch either. So, and every time Tsunoda's at least matched or beaten all of them.
I mean, maybe we should examine the fact that Helmut Marko, mysterious man that he is, he kind of has the motivational tactics of a Sith Lord half the time. Maybe all this is being designed to help just nudge Yuki to go a little bit faster. Maybe this is Helmut Marko's way of saying, you know, keep quiet about it, I'll keep saying you're not good enough, I'll keep saying you're not good enough, and you'll keep showing me that you are good enough. This is the motivation. Maybe.
Maybe, I've got nothing else to say on that.
But I don't know, I can't quite work it out, to be fair, because to me, I think you have to take Yuki a bit more seriously if Sergio Perez isn't good enough for that.
I think the issue is the pressures that are on your shoulders in a Red Bull. It's much higher than AlphaTauri. So I think that's a good point. Maybe that is what they're trying to do with Yuki. Yuki-san.
Who knows? Currently, Tsunoda and Lawson separated by about by 1/10 of a second in Liam Lawson's favour. On boards currently with car number 20, Kevin Magnussen, starting his last 6 races in Formula 1. He hasn't raced much recently. I think he's had about 1 race in the last 7 weeks, Kevin Magnussen, so he might need this practice session because he's a little rusty. What's happening at McLaren, I wonder? Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri currently running 5th fastest for Lando, 10th fastest for Oscar. Zach Brown is on the pit wall for us. Right, Zach, you've got 60 minutes to get your car in tip-top shape to go and attack the sprint race and the Grand Prix. It's probably not enough time, but how are you doing it?
Yeah, we have a plan. We've got 32 minutes to go. I think you'll see a little bit of performance runs towards the end of the session from everyone to get ready for sprint qualifying. We've got some new bits on our car, as do others, so we'll just try to learn them a little bit here and see what the new track surface is like.
Zach, it's Anthony here alongside Crofty and Jensen. Now we've seen lots of drivers spinning, cars going off. It looks really slippery out there. What have your drivers been saying?
Got the balance they want yet, so I think in between the new tarmac that's been put down around a lot of the circuit, everyone's feeling their way around. And anytime you have new tarmac, it takes a little bit of time to rubber in, so it kind of looks like business as usual to me anytime you're in this situation.
Hey Zach, it's Jensen. Hello.
I got you, Jensen.
Oh, you got me. I was worried there. So the circuit is, as you know, a lot of it's been resurfaced. You're able to run the car a lot lower, I'm guessing. Does that change the way the car feels a lot when you were able to lower the car around here? Because the cars look really, really twitchy out there still, even though they're able to run so low.
Yeah, the lower we can go, the better. So that's some of the changes that we're making, seeing how far we can get the car on the ground. But there's still some bumps. Sounded to me, I think Lando mentioned turn 4 of the car. was bottoming. I think it was turn 4, so we'll lower it as much as we can, but not to the point where it becomes undrivable. There's certainly a competitive advantage to drop the car if you can.
One more question, Zach, as Max Verstappen begins a performance run on the soft compound tyre. 180 points up for grabs. Lando is the nearest challenger to Max Verstappen. I heard the eminent views of one former world champion on a podcast this week saying it's about time that McLaren gave Lando Norris the superstar treatment and the preferred strategy. And to be fair, Jenson Button had a point when he said that. Is now the time for team orders at McLaren?
Thanks, Crofty.
We go into every weekend with a plan, kind of day by day. Oscar's happy to support Lando when and where it makes sense. Lando wants to try and win this championship by being the fastest race car on the track, not getting waved by. So we have an agreement amongst the drivers. We've got a good plan within the team. We're race by race, but whatever we can do to help Lando, because he does have statistically the best chance while not compromising Oscar's season. He's having an awesome season and wants to chase down Lando, and Charles isn't very far in front of him.
Without being too cheeky, Zach, does that plan involve Oscar not steaming down the inside at the third turn of a Grand Prix and catching his teammate by surprise?
Yeah, we'll make sure we have good first laps. We do like to watch the boys racing. I think that's the most sporting way to go racing, but certainly we want to try and minimize risks, which you have at the start of any Grand Prix. So if we had Monza to do all over again, we would have probably handled it slightly differently. But we're in good shape. We're learning by these things each weekend.
Glad to have your company this weekend, Zach. Thanks ever so much for being honest with us as well. Halfway through the session, there's your time, 1:33.8. Max Verstappen, first, main performance run on a set of soft compound tyres.
You see just last year's pole position there. It's a bit of an unfair fight, of course, because the circuit's been resurfaced in so many places.
And also Charles Leclerc inherited pole after Max had a time deleted, yes.
Of course, although they were fairly close in lap time. But so far, that's been the most together lap I've seen, driven at least, by anyone.
Tyres are a little bit cold to start a lap.
Yeah, roger that, Max.
Sergio Perez, we can compare to Max Verstappen because he's gone out at pretty much the same time. And he's 0.8 off Max Verstappen's time there. I'll let that one sink in. Because that is not a comparison Sergio Perez will want to make. He's gone out 30 seconds after his teammate, and he's 0.8 behind.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see the lap, of course. Maybe there was one big mistake in there, and his engineer, or the engineers at the team, will clearly be able to see that. If there aren't any mistakes, then that's a bit of a bit more than just a head scratcher for Perez. But yeah, we should wait until we see the lap at least as a comparison. But yeah, the lap that I saw driven by Verstappen, it looked like I said at the time, a more together lap. By that I mean he was on the right piece of tarmac where you want to be, and the car was doing more what he was expecting it to do. So let's see how the others get on when they put the soft tyres on. So far,
the tarmac areas.
It's a compromise, isn't it? You're absolutely right. There's a lot of evolution to go before we'll get the best conditions maybe for this session. But
the main struggle was the ride in the low speed. I start to bounce a lot more.
Yeah, copy.
Feedback from Sergio Perez after his lap. But the trouble is, you want to get a banker lap in because this is the only session before it starts to get serious. Piastri going way off on that turn 19. But you want to get a lap in that's not going to get compromised by too much traffic, yellow flags, and a potential red flag as well.
Yeah, it is practice though. So I mean, if you get a yellow flag in one section, you still get a feel for the rest of the lap. Yeah, it's just a little bit surprising because the circuit will ramp up, and to be fair, it's ramped up quite a bit from the start of the session. Yeah. So only 0.8 quicker than Sainz with a hard tyre. It's not a massive margin, I wouldn't say.
Let's head back down to the pit lane. Ted Kravitz, I can't see you at the moment. Where have you wandered off to?
Down at McLaren, actually, just to follow up what Zach Brown was saying. So Lando Norris still making some setup changes. He's rejoined the track just now on the same set of hard tyres that he's been running for quite a while. So Lando not ready to do some particularly quick laps. And while we've already established that it's Lando who's going to be having the upgraded, supposedly, well, we think quicker, McLaren think quicker front wing, and Oscar will have the old one, Oscar's still going to have 6 other upgrades, because McLaren have brought 7 upgrades to this race. So still, Oscar's going to have a little bit of a help on the front suspension. There's a new rear beam wing as well on the rear corner as well. Plenty of good stuff on this McLaren this weekend. Let's see what Lando does on this lap.
Thank you very much indeed, Ted Kravitz. Lando out and making his way towards turn 11 currently, with Verstappen 8/10 up on Carlos Sainz. That's a different soft tyres to hard tyres, Red Bull to Ferrari. Sergio Perez with exactly the same time on the soft tyre to Carlos Sainz, just to put that lap into perspective. And McLaren still running their run plan according to what they want to do, and that's more about race setup and race preparation on those hard tyres. I think was it 2 drivers used the soft tyre in the race last year? I know it wasn't a huge amount of soft tyre usage.
Yeah, it's a circuit that's very punishing on tyres, and also not just from a wear point of view, but an overheating point of view as well, mostly because you come into sector 3 and you've punished them through all the high-speed stuff earlier on in the lap, and you've got nothing left. It just feels like a greasy tyre under you when you get to sector 3.
Yuki Tsunoda and Daniel Ricciardo, they were the drivers that used the soft tyre last year. Let's go back trackside, shall we, once again. Martin Brundle, to you.
Hello there, yeah. So I'm feeling generous today. This is a buy one, get 3 more free. We're down, I'm on the outside of turn 14, and you can look there, you can see 13 and 14. There's one great big long arc. And this, sort of about 2/3 the way around the circuit, this really punishes the tyres. Tyres are screaming out when they get around here. I'm seeing a lot of cars moving around under traction. It's really clumsy as well, because they try to make a gap here and they're getting in each other's way a lot. As hard as they, or as much as they try to get out of each other's way, sooner or later they've got to cross the racing line. So 13 and 14, a nice sweep through. Then we'll have a little walk over here. You can see many photographers, so you know that's always a good place to be. We'll not get in their way because they've got a job to do out here as well. We'll try and get somewhere in the middle. And this is that really tight little left-hander where we see a lot of track limits issues where drivers go wide, and again the front axle's working overtime there as they go right to the outside of it. They're pushing track limits because they need to minimize the angle of the corner, maximize the speed they take there at the slowest point, and get on the throttle. A really long throttle travel. George Russell was really wide there. He'd have lost that lap if it had been in qualifying. Here comes Sergio Perez, and the Red Bull accelerating nicely there. So this is 15 into 16, and as I say, you've then really got a long, far 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20 to the end of the lap when you need your tyres really intact, and they've done a lot of work through this section as well. But when the cars are by themselves, they can take a lovely flowing arc. When they're side by side in racing, they have to go defensive. That's where they lose a lot of time around here. As we see the Sauber, and I think it's only Bottas that's got the upgrades this weekend, I was being told this morning. But a lovely spot to watch. I feel like I'm sort of right in the thick of the action here as we see Oscar Piastri there. Again, the McLaren, it really jumps out of the racetrack, that colour scheme, I must say. I had a drive in one of these cars 10 days ago. They have such long throttle travel. They've got so much power, and that's how you can tell they're really slowly putting the throttle on. Right, probably double the amount of throttle travel we used to have back in the V10, V8 days, so that they can really control this power on phase nicely through there as the Ferrari disappears towards the end of the lap. Another Ferrari coming into view, weaving around under braking, and through it goes, and back to you, Crofty.
Thanks ever so much, Martin. See you in the commentary box for qualifying a little bit later, and you can see Martin in one of the current crop of Formula One cars, I think in Abu Dhabi later on this season. We weren't jealous at all about the day that he had going and driving an F1 car. Not much. Verstappen against Norris. That is the championship battle for 2024. And this is how the points are going to be decided. 34 here, 34 in Brazil, 34 in Qatar, because they're the sprint weekends. 26 points up for grabs with the point for the fastest lap and all the other ones. And you won't get a point for a fastest lap next year because they've decided to scrap it. We've had, what, 2-3 seasons of the fastest lap extra bonus point. We're not going to get it anymore. We have just under 20 minutes to go. Verstappen and Perez separated by just under 0.8 of a second now. Verstappen went for a second lap on the soft compound tyres, didn't improve. Sergio did, but only by just under 0.1 of a second. I used the phrase fun sponges, referring to those that wanted to get rid of the bonus points yesterday, and I stand by that. I don't understand why we need to scrap it.
Because, why is it?
Yeah, but it is.
But teams can just use a driver to go out and take it away.
Well, yeah, which they did, obviously, in Singapore. But also, drivers, like Lando Norris, for instance, could go and set the fastest lap on the last lap of the race when he's leading a race and could give it absolutely everything right to the finish line.
But you're not going to beat someone putting on a new set of tyres that's outside the top 10. They don't even get the point. They just take it away.
But unless there's a free pit stop gap, people aren't going to be pitting. It just gives us something to talk about towards the end of the race. I like it.
Either go big or go home. Make it 3 points or don't bother.
Fair enough.
It definitely added something to the entertainment factor. Engineers don't go racing for, in many ways, entertainment. They go racing to win and be purists.
Yeah.
And that's why I think they didn't like it as much, because they felt it was a bit of a gimmick. But I kind of liked that gimmick.
Yeah.
It definitely added something to what could be a bit of a formality at the end of a race.
What about pole position?
Well, pole position, a point for pole position would, and I think Carlos Sainz brought this up, would be a much more valid point, quite literally. And I would be up for that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The argument against that used to be, well, we don't want the title decided on a Saturday by giving a point for pole, but now we have a sprint on a Saturday. That argument's gone out the window for me.
And you're going to be getting more and more sprints. I think they're definitely here to stay. So yeah, I mean, it can be decided, why not, in a pole position. If you've been the dominant driver in terms of getting most poles, and that should be awarded.
Yeah.
I'm with Anthony. Marketeers, not engineers. That's our slogan. You know, other than though, oh, brilliant. Well done. Well done to you, sir. Oh, James Vowles will like that.
Look at him. He's feeling so proud right now.
He is.
He's a good lad.
He has literally puffed out his chest.
Come on, James. Break into a proper smile. Come on.
Yeah, he will do later. Don't worry. Yeah, other than those that can recite pi to, 19 decimal places, I didn't think anyone wanted to get rid of the bonus point, to be fair. It might be a gimmick, but I quite liked it as a gimmick, and I wasn't overly sure in the first place. I got convinced that actually it wasn't a decent idea just by watching what was going on the track. Right, still hard tyres for a lot of the drivers out there. Only really Red Bull have done their performance runs, their qualifying simulations, and Zhou Guanyu in the Sauber as Yuki Tsunoda is practicing attacking the line at the start of the pits, right by our commentary box here. I wish we could see it, but someone's put a load of crates in the way.
I guess, well, everyone is going to be fighting for qualifying. It is so important. These guys aren't going to get any long runs in, really. It looks like Red Bull are concentrating even more than others on qualifying.
16 minutes to go. They'll be out in a few moments' time. This is Zhou Guanyu coming into the pits.
I have a problem, guys. I have no power. Yeah, there's no recovery.
Staying here.
Yeah, that is an issue for Zhou Guanyu, as you can see, just trundling down the pit lane. Just under 16 minutes to go. Zhou Guanyu with an issue here.
I have a problem, guys. I have no power. Yeah, there's no recovery.
Staying here.
Lost power?
Yeah, well, being told to stay in gear as well can sometimes hint at a hydraulics issue.
Yeah.
You don't want to do any unnecessary damage to the gearbox if it's not happy and select. It uses the hydraulic power to select the gears, but yeah, a bit of a strange one there for Joe Guanyu. As Bottas, his teammate, is in P8 at the moment.
Bottas has run the medium tyres in this session.
But that's his only set.
Sorry?
That's his only set, isn't
Yeah.
it? He's not put on a second set yet.
No, he hasn't. It might give you an indication as to why he's a little further up there with everyone else on the hard. And as Ted was saying, he's got the upgrades too. We're on board with George Russell at the moment. And whilst we watch from the rear of the Mercedes, Ted, what you got for us?
Well, I'm down at Sauber, actually, Crofty. And if you're asking how have they managed to be P8 with Valtteri Bottas with these upgrades, what are they and how are they so great? Have they transformed the car? The answer is there are only 4 of them, and the most important one of them is the front wing. But what Sauber have found was that this new front wing has had such an amazing effect to the further to the airflow further downstream of the car. It's had a really, really big impact, and they're really happy with it. The other improvements are the front suspension, the rear suspension, but that's just sort of wishbone covers, and the rear corner, but that's kind of just upper rear brake duct. So it's really just the reimagined front wing that has made so far a big difference to this.
Can you give me some feedback how wide drivers are running exit turn 9 over that curb?
So turn 9 exit, Verstappen is right up to the blue line, so he's right up to the limit.
Okay, and on Zhou Guanyu, by the way, Crofty, they're now starting, unfortunately for Zhou, to take the car to pieces. I wouldn't be surprised to see him jump out of the car in a minute, but yeah, it looks like there's something deep within the engine bay that has failed at this point.
Not good. Talking of engines and power units, Liam Lawson, Christian Horner gave this one away earlier in the week. We'll go back to it in a minute.
Yeah, sorry, Chris. So this is that's the damp turn 15, that lock up for Russell as he runs wide and off the track, and clearly just struggling with the grip of that car. It looks like he's struggled the whole way through this session. That's the rear shot of it. You see that puff of smoke, and the moment he drives off the track. But it's interesting him asking about the exit curb of turn 9. It's a blind corner inside the car. That's why he's asking how far are other people running onto that curb, and does it seem usable? And that's a good bit of feedback, and that you need that relationship with your engineer and that understanding between the two of them, the way it works. So he was able to hear straight away that great feedback that yes, others are using it. Basically the fastest driver out there at the moment went right to the limit on the exit of that corner, so you need to be doing the same thing when you get the soft tyre run.
New internal combustion engine, new turbocharger, new MGUH and K, new energy store, new control electronics for Liam Lawson, which I think makes back of the grid.
Well, that was a moment there, wasn't it, for Alex Albon. Really kicked up the dust on the apex of turn 6. I think that might be that grass that you were talking about, Jensen. Yeah. And he gets away with it, but I don't think it was the fastest way to get around that corner.
He's on a new set of tyres, some quali sim. As you can see, a lot of the top teams have been doing high fuel. They're in the 137s, and all pretty similar on lap times, actually. The Ferraris, the Red Bull, and the Mercedes and McLaren.
Here's that ripple there and there.
There's quite a few. You can see it on the... Oh!
And that, I think, might have unsettled Alex Albon into braking at turn 12.
That was weird, wasn't it? Was it a sudden snap or was it a problem?
It was a very late over rotation, wasn't it? The car at the rear just sliding out or snapping out on him.
He's not going to have enough charge for the next lap, is he? So going to be another slow lap.
But yeah, well, they say they've got rid of the big bump. There are still ripples there. It's kind of like surfing on a pond rather than the sea.
Well, it's built on a marshland around here, this part, so there's so much subsidence going on all the time. So they're constantly, it's a bit of a patchwork these days in terms of where they resurface. They never do the entire track, but here's that moment. Yeah. So it was just kicking up, and he oversteered because of that. And then you've got the grass and the dust on your tyres, and then you're sliding around too much.
You can see where they've added the grass there, the apex.
I'm glad they did.
So that explains that one. Ted, down to you to explain what.
It must be the curse of the new anti-Crofty helmet design, Crofty. He's gone again. He's changed it again as Albon in commemoration.
The folly of it. It's the folly of it.
Of his 100th race. It's a tribute to Valentino Rossi, the doctor, of course, legend of MotoGP. But we'll get into that later. Right, it is Festival of Qualifying Simulation time, because everybody who is leaving the pits is doing so now, Crofty, on a brand new set of soft tyres, except for Sergio Perez, who's already gone and has used the best of his soft tyres, but he's carrying.
Pero es una muy buena vuelta que ha hecho Juan Franco Colapinto.
Sí, sí, ya comienzan a mejorar los tiempos, comienzan a entrar. Bueno, Hamilton ya está con el neumático blando, Russell acaba de entrar a cambiar neumáticos, también lo hace McLaren. Vamos a tener lo que siempre tenemos en la práctica libre número 3, Fernando, en un fin de semana regular, esa mini clasificación con todos los pilotos con el neumático blando. Y Alex Albon pasó muy lento por la recta principal, vuelta de calentamiento y volver a aprovechar ese neumático, que hay que ver cómo quedó luego de ese despiste. Por eso muy buena vuelta de Franco Colapinto.
Efectivamente, hizo 1.35.2 contra 1.33.8 de Max Verstappen. Ahora muchos lo van a bajar, a Colapinto también, hay que decirlo, Cochito, hay que advertirle a la gente cuando empiecen a poner el neumático blando, ¿no?
Sí, sin duda. Bueno, pero también les advertimos, ¿no?, que se queden tranquilos cuando estaba último, de que estaba en un programa de prueba con tanque lleno, con el neumático duro, pensando en la carrera, y que iba a mejorar muchísimo el tiempo cuando ponga el neumático blando y con el combustible de clasificación. Así lo hizo. Ahora están todos con ese programa. Vamos a ver cómo se posiciona el resto de los pilotos.
Vamos con Hamilton, que viene con neumático blando, también bajando, mejorando. Cerquita de Verstappen, menos de 2 décimas. Le queda la última parte, que es muy difícil también por las curvas que tienen. Miren, esta, por ejemplo. Después tienen la curva muy prolongada, un semicírculo a la derecha. Siempre decimos que es como la curva de Turquía, pero al revés, ¿no? Turquía es a la izquierda, aquí es a la derecha. Y ahí está, ya en la parte final, últimas curvas. En el límite sobre la línea blanca. Se pone segundo, 1.34.3. Perdió 4 décimas y media con relación a Max Verstappen, pero un buen tiempo de Lewis Hamilton. Aquí está Sainz. Mejorando lo de Verstappen, 2 décimas. Viene para ponerse primero Sainz, si no se equivoca aquí en el final. Lo deja pasar Leclerc, le dejó el espacio allí a su compañero. Ahí le avisan, ¿no? En el equipo, le avisan por radio que viene el compañero, Cochito.
Exactamente. Todos en esta fase final haciendo vuelta rápida.
Aquí está la última curva.
Sainz se va a quedar con lo mejor.
Mejoró 2 décimas y media el tiempo que tenía Verstappen. Primero Sainz, 1.33.6 para el piloto español. La próxima va a intentarlo Leclerc. Quedan 7 minutos, tiene tiempo. Sube Alonso al tercero, 34.1. Fred Vasseur es el director del equipo Ferrari.
Está bien Ferrari, ¿eh?
Ahora subió Ocon al séptimo lugar, 34.8. Colapinto se mantiene en el noveno. Checo Pérez está sexto, a 1 segundo del tiempo de Sainz. Ahora sube Gasly al quinto, 34.3. Lawson, que está sexto también, efectivamente, Juan.
Muy bien.
8 décimas.
Está cerrando Albon también la vuelta. A ver dónde se coloca el compañero de Colapinto, séptimo.
También está mejorando la pista, ¿no? Ya en el final de la tanda. No puede Russell con esa curva número 1, ¿eh? No le sale ni la 1 ni la 9 a Russell. Está en el décimo. Sí, está en el 12º lugar. No lo pudo mejorar. Perdió la vuelta allí George Russell.
Mercedes nervioso, con falta de adherencia, me parece algo falta de grip.
Y este es otro que está lejos, Cochito, Piastri, 17º.
Sí, de todas maneras.
Wow, se fue de largo.
En los pits, Piastri ahora.
Sí, erró la entrada a los pits, Juan.
Sí, bueno, está bien. Inclusive evitó un accidente.
Bien, ahí está Leclerc. Hay un cartel de Virtual Safety Car y final del Virtual Safety Car. Yo no sé si fue por el incidente también de Oscar Piastri. De cualquier manera, el equipo lo felicitó, ¿no? El ingeniero lo felicitó, le dijo, está bien por haber evitado un accidente. Le dijeron a Piastri que erró la entrada a los pits, venía muy rápido. Eso pasó antes, porque ahí está Piastri ya saliendo de la zona de boxes. Muy amplia la calle de boxes, como se puede ver allí. Todos los circuitos de Estados Unidos tienen mucho espacio, Cochito, ¿eh?
Sí, un gran circuito este de Austin. Con una parte, un sector número 1 muy lindo para manejar, donde realmente se siente el poder que tiene en curva un auto de Fórmula 1. Esas heces son rapidísimas, casi a fondo. Como ya lo explicábamos, similares a Suzuka. Algo parecido también con Silverstone, donde los pilotos gozan de manejar un auto de Fórmula 1 y después de la curva número 11 en adelante comienza toda la parte más trabada. De la 12 en adelante diríamos 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Curvas un poco más lentas. Tiene de todo este trazado de Austin.
Varios pilotos vienen mejorando sus tiempos ahora, entre ellos Colapinto. También viene mejorando Russell, que tiene un mini sector con récord en el segundo parcial. Aquí estamos con Russell, justamente. 4 minutos para el final de la tanda. A ver cómo termina la vuelta. Russell viene muy, pero muy rápido en ese segundo parcial. Colapinto viene mejorando sus tiempos también, pero no tanto como Russell, ¿eh? Russell viene con récord en el segundo parcial. Al final no lo pudo completar con récord, pero rápido. Queda a 4 décimas y media de Sainz. La tanda se está reordenando, ¿eh? Quedaron en el fondo, salvo Piastri, pilotos que tenían que estar cerca del fondo de la tabla.
Sí, Piastri y Norris, todavía los McLaren no aparecieron hasta aquí. A ver, Russell cuando cierra seguramente se va a colocar dentro de los 10.
Bueno, Colapinto se fue al pit. Venía rápido, pero se fue a los pits, ¿eh? Creo que quiere hacer otra salida. Russell se coloca séptimo. Subió su noda al cuarto lugar. Buen tiempo también de Yuki.
Venía bien Franco, una lástima que no cerró la vuelta porque venía para escalar algunas posiciones. A ver acá, ¿qué pasó?
Acá pasó algo con
Russell.
Sí, Russell, pero me parece que era Albon, ¿eh? El que estaba en la pista. A ver. No, es Colapinto. Es Franco, de atrás no se veía el color de la cámara. Puede haber habido un roce ahí, levanta. Russell venía muy, pero muy rápido, Juan, en esa maniobra. Subió Stroll al 10º lugar, 34.6 para Stroll. Checo quedó 11º, sigue a 1 segundo de Sainz. Y ahora la mayoría de los tiempos, Cochito, los 12 primeros por lo menos están hechos con goma blanda. Y también el de Colapinto, que está 14º.
Sí, el de Franco que venía para meterse dentro de los 10, me parece. Si no abortaba esa última vuelta, había hecho un muy buen sector número 1 y el 2. Después, bueno, vimos el inconveniente ahí también con Russell, que tampoco pudo hacer una vuelta limpia, redonda. Me parece que Russell tenía también un poquito más.
Este es Oscar Piastri. Sube Hülkenberg el sexto. A ver, Russell.
Ride is definitely worse at this fuel load.
El ride del auto, ¿no? Es realmente peor con esta cantidad de combustible, o sea, con menos combustible, como están diciendo, porque están todos con neumático blando. Ese ride height que estamos, y todos están tratando de tener esa altura perfecta, y el comportamiento del auto está peor con el combustible de baja carga para clasificación. Así que Mercedes está complicado, ¿no? A 7 décimas de Sainz. Hay que esperar ahora lo que pueda hacer Charles Leclerc y Lando Norris, que deben la vuelta rápida con neumático blando.
Bien, Piastri hizo récord en el segundo parcial. Ahí termina la vuelta. A ver. Tercero a 3 décimas de Sainz. Hay una bandera de advertencia para Piastri justamente. Bueno, porque se equivocó al volver a la pista por donde estaba lo que se llama volardo o el cono. Y falló las instrucciones de la dirección de carrera. Bueno, es una advertencia nada más por ahora.
Para que se entienda, Fer, esto que decía Russell y lo que explicaba también Juan de la altura del auto, ¿no? No se puede tocar. La altura, una vez que uno la pone para clasificar, tiene que ser la misma altura del auto que se usa para correr. Pero lógicamente el peso del auto es diferente. Para clasificar uno va con mucho menos combustible, un auto mucho más liviano. Y cuando uno corre con el combustible cargado, el auto lógicamente se va para abajo. Entonces, encontrar el balance de esa altura del auto para poder tener un buen funcionamiento, tanto con poco combustible como con el combustible de carrera, es muy difícil. Es un trabajo muy minucioso que hay que hacer de a poquito, por eso se trabaja mucho en las prácticas libres en ese aspecto. Y bueno, es lo que todavía no está encontrando Russell. Por lo menos no se siente cómodo. En un auto cargado va diferente y la tendencia es diferente al comportamiento cuando el auto está sin combustible.
Bien, se fue a los pits Colapinto, o están los pits Colapinto, quedan segundos nada más. No va a volver a salir el piloto argentino. Esteban Ocon mejora el tiempo, pero sigue 16º. Y Norris está detrás de Colapinto, pero con tiempo hecho con goma dura. Ahí sube Norris al 4º lugar con toda esa pintura verde Flowbiz para ver cómo va el flujo de aire en la parte izquierda del McLaren. Subió el 4º a 266 milésimas. Lo que estamos viendo también, Juan, Cochito, que Verstappen está para pelear allí, ¿eh? Está en el 3er lugar.
Sí, se lo vio bien.
Sí, está bien Verstappen.
Sí, Juan.
Está en una buena posición. En clasificación lo demostró Singapur en clasificación, ¿no?
No, you don't. Next car pushing is no one.
Bueno, está preguntando qué auto, el auto que estaba justamente ahí, si estaba empujando con vuelta, y dice que no, el otro auto que está empujando y no le comunicaron quién era para tratar de obstruirlo. Y veremos dónde pierde Norris justamente la posibilidad de hacer el mejor tiempo. Se debe ir ancho o algo pasa porque perdió mucho. Y vamos a ver si le costó la vuelta, creo. Sí, le costó la vuelta.
Efectivamente. Bueno, nos vamos a ir despidiendo, Juan, por lo menos con tu trabajo. Nosotros seguimos unos minutos más. Hay mucho trabajo por hacer allí, ¿no? Con estas carreras de Fórmula 1 ya en la parte final de temporada y con Franco Colapinto allí.
Y ahora se acabó la práctica, Fernando. Vamos a tener ya clasificación para la sprint y luego clasificación para el Gran Premio, carrera sprint. Ya no hay más para tocar, aunque hay una flexibilidad para hacer algunos ajustes, pruebas, no hay más. Y nosotros nos despedimos desde pit lane porque a partir de ahora no podemos estar más aquí. Chau, chau.
Amigos, terminó la práctica libre número 1, el único entrenamiento que tiene este fin de semana. Las dos Ferrari adelante, Sainz y Leclerc, separados por nada, Cochito, 21 milésimas. Y después Verstappen a 2 décimas y media y muy cerca de Verstappen, Norris y Piastri. Y después Hamilton en el 6º lugar, seguido por Russell, su compañero de equipo. Esto se pone lindo para el fin de semana en la pelea por el campeonato.
Se pone muy lindo, como era de esperar. Los 4 equipos fuertes están ahí adelante. Checo un poco retrasado. Hay que ver también el programa de trabajo que eligió cada uno. Russell complicadísimo esta tanda, más por afuera que por adentro de la pista. Pero bueno, me parece que es importante. Todos pudieron completar su programa. Ahora analizar datos para poder poner la mejor puesta a punto para correr el sprint y la carrera del domingo también. Y clasificar sobre todo, ¿no?
Así han quedado las posiciones con Carlos Sainz primero, Leclerc en el 2º lugar. Los autos están regresando allí para la zona de los boxes. 3º terminó Verstappen, 4º Norris, 5º Piastri y 6º Lewis Hamilton. Franco Colapinto terminó en el 19º lugar y Checo Pérez en el 16º. No les ha ido bien en esta tanda, por lo menos con lo que han estado probando a los pilotos latinoamericanos. Ahí está Piastri, el joven australiano que ha ganado este año también un par de carreras interesantes. Se ganó este chico que el año pasado había ganado una carrera sprint en su primera temporada, Cochito, de Fórmula 1.
Sí, practicando largada, como lo están haciendo también el resto de los pilotos que van llegando a la recta principal. Muy importante esta práctica de largada porque es la única que tienen desde el lugar de partida, ¿no? Recordemos que esto lo hacen siempre al final de cada práctica libre. Aquí, al ser la única, tienen solamente esta oportunidad de chequear la adherencia y grip que tiene justamente este sector donde van a largar el sprint y el día domingo la carrera.
Así es, quiero decirles que comenzaremos en 2 horas y media la previa de lo que será la quali para la carrera sprint. Es una prueba de clasificación para ordenar la grilla de partida para la sprint de mañana, que se hará en primer término. Después del sprint estará la quali para la carrera del domingo el día sábado. Es un programa extraño, ¿no? Con la carrera sprint, pero de cualquier manera tenemos mucha, pero mucha actividad. Ahí está la estrella solitaria en la bandera de Texas y este es el resultado final. Con los hombres de Ferrari delante con Max Verstappen en el 3er lugar. Nos vamos despidiendo, Cochito. Estamos en 2 horas y media.
Así es, Fer, un saludo a todos. Nos reencontramos dentro de un ratito nada más.
Muchas gracias a ustedes, amigos. Los dejamos con la clasificación de la práctica 1. Gracias.